Namaskar. Welcome to this session. We are considering Adhyatma Prasada. We considered to understand Adhyatma the composite thing of Adhibautika, didaivika, Adhyatmika, and then even Adhyagnya. Adhyagnya is that universal principle, the Almighty, the omnipresent, omniscient, informer, internal ruler, informer of everything, Antaryami, that is Adhyagnya. Adhyatma is the Adhishtan substratum of entire creation, from blade of grass monad to Brahmadeva, the creator deity. So Adhyatma is something that is adhishtanam for this creation, for this glorious creation, cosmos, the creation of divinity, Almighty, omniscient, omnipresent, sarva guna sampanna, sarva shasta, sarvadhipati, sarvasyadhipati, the master of everything. He created this creation. So adhishtanam is something which is substrate, the cosmic particle, divine particle there in every object, aspect, subtle, gross, living, non-living, celestial, terrestrial, infernal. So that is the support. Adhishtan means support, substrate. And so Adhyatma is that which is supporting factor for everything in this universe. And then Adhidaivikam is the celestial forces come as constituents to constitute the various constituted aspects which are gross, subtle, living, non-living, terrestrial, celestial, infernal, universal. So the celestial forces come together to constitute the universal matter, universal objects. And Adhibautikam is the manifestation itself. At some stage, students of philosophy, we have to understand difference between Bhautikam, Adhibautikam. Bhautikam means made up of elements, the Pancha Maha. But then Adhibautam has two meanings on the plane of Vyashti and on the plane of Sameshti. On the plane of a micro plane of we ourselves, there is one meaning for Adhibautikam, and then on macro plane there is another meaning for it. So Adhibautikam within us means the way the five elements have constituted within ourselves for us to be human beings. Then the five elements get constituted in different animals, creatures, birds of various kinds. So they all have particular purpose, different purpose, and therefore they have different constitutions. The five elements are there for our body, as well as body of snake, cobra, elephant, lion, deer, hare, tortoise, whatever animal, eagle, crow, sparrow, all these have five elements. But they differently constitute And that is why something is human creation, something is subhuman creation, something is superhuman creation, something is animal creation, something is bird creation, something is aquatic creation. So we all have different kind of living things. It is because of the Adhibautikam aspect, not the Bhautikam. Bhautikam is there common to everyone. The 5 elements are common to all bodies, be that human body or anybody's body, anything's body. The 5 elements are there even in stone, in a boulder, in a rock. The 5 elements are there even in ocean. Ocean is not uni-elemental. It has 5 elements. So 5 elements are coming differently. This is because the Adhibautika aspect. Because we have one purpose, elephant has another purpose, ocean has another purpose, mountain has another purpose. So according to purpose, the 5 elements come in different proportions, in different processes, in different primariness and in different secondariness. So that is how the creation is explained by Adhibautik aspect and not just Bhautik aspect in Eastern wisdom. So, say in Adhibautik aspects, banana as a fruit stands out as a unique fruit as against the several different fruits. You can place the other fruits on the other side. The banana is going to stand out. Now, this is not going to be divulged why by any physics or any chemistry or any botany or any biology. It's not going to tell you why, but it is true. Because the Oriental wisdom had this classification of Adhibautik, Didaivika, Adhyatmic. And therefore, amongst all the fruits, banana scores a unique place. And that is why in our rituals and worships and pujas, the banana is invariably there. It has an important role. And even its name is mentioned, called Kadali Phalam. So why it is important? It is only, not even metaphysicists will tell you. It is only Adhyatmist will tell you. We don't have such clan of people who are called Adhyatmist. They know the Adhibautik analysis of ingredients of banana leaf, banana fruit. Although the king of fruit might be, mango might be called king of fruit, that is human selection. We have called mango as the king amongst all fruits, that is human selection. But banana is different. So also, banana leaf. Apart from Vedikas, nobody has really understood the importance of banana leaf. The chemists will not be able to really chemically analyze and come to conclusion as to why banana leaf stands out amongst all other leaves, that we have so many botanical creations. There are so many leaves to so many plants. Different plants have different kinds of leaves. But the mango leaves and banana leaves stand out. We don't pick up other leaves as much as mango leaves and then banana leaf. So they really stand out. So Adhibautika classification depends upon the Sattva-Rajo-Tamo gunas in them. Physics doesn't consider Sattva-Rajo-Tamo guna. Physical chemistry doesn't consider Sattva-Rajo-Tamo gunas. They only have, perhaps will ascertain properties, and they will tell us about the basic elements which chemistry speaks about. and they will say which is what and which is how much where. And they do not speak about anything about Sattva-Rajo-Tamo Gunas. So Adhibautik aspects are the things which apportion the 5 elements in different manifestations, depending upon whether it has to be Satvic manifestation or Rajasic manifestation or Tamasic manifestation. So in Adhibhautiki Shastra, which is unfortunately not there now, the Adhibhautiki Shastra will be different than Bhautika Shastra or even Rasayana Shastram, because it will consider Sattva-Rajo-Tamo Gunas. The modern chemistry doesn't have a slightest clue about Sattva-Rajo-Tamo Gunas in any of these chemicals, elements, but the Adhibhautiki Shastris, Adhibhautikis, who were our seers and sages of lore, they had this classification, they had this analysis. Tulsi leaf, the basil plant leaf, it stands out. It has uniqueness. For us it is important because the basil plant will be exhaling oxygen 24 hours. That is perhaps only the thing why it is important for us. But for Adhibhautiki Shastris, for Adhibautikists, if I may say so, like physicist, if there is someone who should be called as Adhibautikist, then he will tell you why basil leaves stand out for so many various reasons. Their Aushadhi Mulya is great, and they work for purification of our chitta and our mind, and not just medicine for our body and body problems. So there are certain manifestations in the universe or in the world rather, which really have exalted value because of the Sattva Guna in them. The Satvic Guna in basil leaves, tulsi patram, the Sattva Gunam in, say, turmeric powder, Sattva Guna in banana, Sattva Guna in banana leaf, Sattva Guna in mango leaves is enormous compared to other leaves of the tree, other fruits of the tree. Then amongst flowers, the lotus stands out. There are so many flowers, but the lotus flower stands out. It is because of the Sattva Guna in it. Its intrinsic value is only decided by the Adhibautikist, if I may say so. And we don't have such scientists today in this world, but we had them in classical times anyway. So that is the Adhibhautiki aspect, which depends upon proportion of Sattva-Rajo-Tamo Gunas. The Vayu as element, Agni as element, Up as element, they have unique role. So it purificatory acts. That's why Jalatattvam or manifestation of Jalatattvam, manifestation of Agni Tattvam, manifestation of Vayu Tattvam becomes important. So that science is there still. Those are students of Adhyatma Shastra who will study the Adhibhautiki. So it's a unique subject by itself, and we are not going to delineate. However, we have to consider it because we are going to consider Adhyatma. If you are going to consider Adhyatma, you also have to have orientation to what is Adhibautikam, what is didaivika. It is imperative. It is indispensable. You cannot be not thinking of Adhibautikam, Adhidaivikam and only think of Adhyatmikam. Because any of these concepts, when you say Adhibautikam, you have to also consider Adhidaivikam. You must have inquiry into Adhidaivikam, you must have inquiry into Adhyatmikam. So if I may say so, that there are Adhyatmists, they will not be Adhyatmists without being Adhibautikists and Adidaivikists. If there are Adhibautikists, then they cannot be not being Adidaivikists and Adhyatmikists. So it's a body of science where Adhibautik, Adhidaivik, Adhyatmic aspects are considered, and then within our embodiment, it is one kind of analysis as to what is Adhibautik, what is Adhidaivik, what is Adhyatmic. In case of other manifestations in the universe, the three are there, but they have different purpose. The life has one purpose, living things have one purpose, non-living things have no purpose of their own, they have purpose for living. This is what Patanjali's metaphysics tells us. Bhutendriyatmakam bhoga apavargartham drushyam. The drushya category, seen category, what we call as insentient, achit. It doesn't have its own purpose, it has the purpose of the chit. This is what the philosophy tells us. So, the point is, you just can't consider here Adhyatma because Patanjali is mentioning something of Adhyatma prasada, and you really cannot conceive it without understanding Adhibautikam, Adhidaivikam, and perhaps with the advent of Bhagavad Gita 5000 years ago, Adi Yagnyam, which in Upanishad's time was called Antaryami, Sarvantaryami, Sarvaniyanta, Sarvasyadhipati. So, Upanishads have mentioned that Sarvasyadhipati, where Bhagavad Gita mentions as Adhiyagnya. So, what is denoted is one and the same, but the nomenclatures are different. So, here we are considering Adhyatma prasada. We also have Adhyatma prasada just for simple reason, simple logic. If the Almighty is residing in us, if Almighty is centric aspect in us, there is no point in deeming that we are not graced. The grace is spontaneous, obvious, if the divinity is indweller in us. So all of us have this grace. We have the grace because of Adhiyagnya, we have the grace of even Adhyatma. If this glorious Atma is what we are ourselves, not what we think of us. We are ourselves Atma. That's why it is called self in metaphysics. So that itself, when it is something that we ourselves are, how can we say that we are not blessed? If we are self, ourselves, then we have tremendous grace. Like if you are Prime Minister of a country, President of a country, you can't say you are unfortunate. You are definitely fortunate by being Prime Minister of a country or President of a country or Head of the State of a country. So that's very obvious. There is no argument about it. There can be no argument about it. Similarly, when we are self, we are Atma, then we are invariably graced. And then we are indwelled by Antaryami, Paramatma, Amruta Purusham, as the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in Antaryami Brahman says, Sa Antaryami Amruta Purushaha, Tat Tvamasi, etc. That means we are graced by just being ourselves, we being ourselves, the self, and then the self being indwelled by Paramatma, there is always a prasada. We are always graced, we are always blessed. So that is Adhyatma prasada that you and me and everyone has. And moreover, if you are more inclined towards Adhyatma, Adhyatma sadhana, Adhyatma dharana, Jivana dharana, if you are living the life of on Adhyatmic values, you are 100 times blessed. So one who is treading on the path of Adhyatma, we will never say that he or she is unfortunate for being on the path of Adhyatma. They are definitely blessed. They are definitely graced by adhering, embracing the principles of Adhyatma and then trying to tread on the path of Adhyatma. It is definitely a blessed condition. And even if that is not, even then it is a blessed condition. Even if you are not at all Adhyatmic in your views, Adhyatmic in your beliefs, Adhyatmic in your practices, and if you do not accept any Adhyatmic values, yet you are fortunate because Adhyatma is Adhishtanam. It is the basic support in you yourself. So even if you are a stark materialist, it is only that in your thought that you are a materialistic person and you are an atheistic person and you have aversion for anything that is not atheistic but opposite and not materialistic but opposite. You might have aversion for it, detest for it, hate for it, but the reality remains. The metaphysics is that we are indwelled by the supreme force in the universe. So, Adhyatma Prasad is there for each one of us. If you recall, during the end of the last session, I mentioned about it. So, those who are in Adhyatmic life are more blessed. Then there are hierarchies in Adhyatmic life. Somebody is in lower calibration of Adhyatmic life, somebody on a middle caliber, somebody on a higher caliber, somebody on more higher. Right from being ungraduate to undergraduate to graduate to postgraduate. And just as we have hierarchies, there are hierarchies. And the supreme hierarchy in Adhyatmic life is one who has accomplishment, proficiency in Nirvichara Samapatti. This is what Patanjali is mentioning. Nirvichara Vaisharadhyahi Adhyatma Prasadaha. Now what is this Adhyatma Prasada needs to be mentioned, because we also have Adhyatma Prasada. But what is the Adhyatma Prasada of this yogi? That is being mentioned. So we will be able to now have some information about what is the Adhyatma Prasada that comes to a yogi. What is Adhyatma Prasada to you and me can be self-investigated. How far we are blessed. How far we are blessed and graced by divine and divine grace. So that is a matter of self-assessment. We can have our own assessment, how much we are fortunate and how much we are graced by divinity. But now we should have some information about what is that grace. How does the grace work? What is the manifestation of grace? What is the effect of grace when a yogi has Adhyatma Prasada? And that is what is being mentioned, and now Vyasa is going to describe. Patanjali has of course described this Adhyatma Prasada until the end of the chapter, first pada, Samadhi pada, Kaivalyam. So this is all fructification of Adhyatma Prasada. Adhyatma Prasada will bestow everything until spiritual samambonam. the finality of spiritual samambonam, which is kaivalyam, which is moksham, which is nirvanam, which is bandhan mukti, which is paramanandam, which is brahmanandam. So that is being mentioned by Patanjali by using so many sutras, starting from this sutra, which is the 47th sutra. So 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. So many sutras are there. This chapter ends with the 51st sutra. And this is all Adhyatma Prasada delineation. Even Patanjali had to expend so many sutras to describe this Adhyatma Prasada. 7 sutras, 7 aphorisms. No topic in Yoga Sutra has so many aphorisms. Adhyatma Prasada has the maximum number of sutras allocated to this particular topic. So until the end of this Samadhi Pada, we will be understanding the Adhyatma Prasada, which is delineation of Patanjali, and then it is further expanded by Vyasa's comment. So bear in mind that until the end of Samadhi Pada, first quarter, first chapter of Yoga Sutras, we will be considering Adhyatma Prasadam of Nirvichara Visharad Yogi, Nirvichara accomplished Yogi. Nirvichara Samapatti pertains to all metaphysical subtle principles, if you recall the classification that we considered earlier. And these are all within one's own embodiment. There is so much of metaphysics within us. From the grossest metaphysics to subtlest of metaphysics, it is in our embodiment. The grossest of metaphysics is Pancha Maha bhutas, Ekadashendriyas, the supports of Vitarka Samadhi. So that is the grossest of metaphysics, the grossest factors of metaphysics. And then come the subtler aspects of metaphysics, rest all the principles amongst the 24 principles of Sankhya Prakriti, or 25 principles with Purusha, or 26th principle with Ishvara. This all the principles are progressively subtler and subtler and subtler, and then subtlest of metaphysics within us. And then when yogi is going inwardly, he starts realizing all these cosmic principles within oneself. For knowledge of cosmos, he doesn't go out in this boundless space outside. He takes a dip into what is called as Chidakasham. It's also space. It's an internal space. Astronomers go into outer space. They look into the space above us and outer space. But yogi goes into the space which is within. That is called Chidakasham, as against Mahadakasham, outside us, above us. So in the Chidakasham, he has these explorations of the metaphysics. Then you can understand the whole, quality of Adhyatma would be totally different. In our Adhyatma, we try to keep our mind pure. But yogi dips into the mind and then purifies the mind stuff, mind matter, purifies it, makes it immaculate, spotless, taintless. He makes it pure, purer and purer and purer and sanctified and cosmic. He cosmicalizes the mind. We look for only a pure mind. We are trying to just have our mind pure and purify our mind, and we are happy with pure mind. But he cosmicalizes the mind by his nirvichara samapatti. So as he explores, he transforms. We explore a lot, but we don't transform. But he explores one bit, and then he transforms 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. Our proportion of exploration and transformation is not much, very, very, very meager, or perhaps many times almost nil. But when the yogi, when he explores something within, 1 unit of exploration means he is transformed by 10 units or 100 units or 1,000 units or 10,000 units. Because he is in samadhi, transformation. So anyway, nirvichara vaisharadhi adhyatma prasadaha. What is this prasada? Ritambhara tatra pragna. Ritambhara pragna. Rutam satyam. Satyam bharati. Rutam bharati iti Ritambhara pragna. It is full of truth and satyam, and it divulges the truth and satyam. That is Ritambhara pragna. We have to search the truth. For a yogi, his mind divulges the truth. It shows the truth. We have to search the truth. The truth doesn't stand in front of us. We have to go in search of truth. But for Adhyatma prasadit yogi, truth presents itself in front of him. This is the difference. We have to go after in search of truth. And the truth stands in front of a yogi's mind. The truth itself comes to yogi. That is Ritambhara pragna. And truth means ultimate truth. Paramarthika satyam. We should recall while we are dealing with the satya, or later we'll be dealing when we go to yamas and niyamas. There is something called as pratibhasika satyam, vyavaharika satyam, paramarthika satyam. Paramarthika satyam means absolute truth. Other truths are all relative truths. Vyavaharika satyam is relative truth. So what is absolute truth? That is Ritambhara, that is Ritam. And that which is charged with truth, that is called Ritambhara. The pragna, the wisdom of a yogi which is charged with truth. Truth is filled up to brim. That is Ritambhara pragna. So his chitta itself is full of truth. While in our case we go in search of truth. So Ritambhara pragna. And then he says Shruta Anumana Pragnabham Anya Vishaya Vishesharthatvat. It divulges the special, unique aspect of everything that comes to his mind, which is different than Shruta Anumana Pragna. It is different than Jnana, which comes to you by testimonies, Shrutis, or Agama Pramanam, or even Anumanam Pramanam. So, Patanjali is going to describe all this. So as I said, up to 51st Sutra he is describing this. But now let us commence from the commentary of Vyasa, which is for this particular sutra. Nirvichara Vaisharadhyehi Adhyatma Prasadaha. So this prasada, Adhyatma prasada means, Vyasa says, the bhutartha vishayas, the objective aspects, which are our objects of knowledge. For yogi, they are from paramanu, from parama sukshma, tanmatra, to mula prakriti, to Atma Tattva. Now these are not at all objects for us. Our objects are on opposite direction. But here the pragna is towards more essential matter, quintessential matter, substantial matter and trans matter up to Purusha Ishvara. And that is the Adhyatma Prasada. We are never graced by this knowledge. Our grace might give us some knowledge about the worldly things. But in worldly things, we have very little reach. When we take up to yoga and Adhyatma, we have little bit reach. But then yogi has enormous reach into the internal realm of Jnanam, which is really the Jnanam. Rest all is not Jnanam. As posited by Bhagavad Gita, declared by Bhagavad Gita. So, we all know that yogi's level of consciousness is towering height. Like when we mount on a higher pedestal, our visions are greater, the horizon extends. If you go on raising your pedestal, you look around you from ground level, how much can you see? But if you go 100 meters and look around you, what is your vision? If you go 1000 meters, what is your vision? If you go 5000 meters, what is your vision? So our vision expands as the column on which we are standing is raised up. So if you go on the hilltop, you can perhaps see the whole town. If you get onto the tower top today, one of the skyscrapers, perhaps the whole city will be visible to you. But if you are on the ground level, what is the horizon for you? It doesn't extend more than a couple of hundreds of feet. But if you are on tower top or hilltop, so your knowledge, nobles expand as you mount yourself on pedestals, higher and higher pedestal progressively. So yogi is now, having climbed up pragna prasadam, this Adhyatma prasada is such a power of knowledge, power of knowing, that he gets mounted on the huge skyscraper of pragna. We only know skyscrapers made up of cement, concrete and steel structures. But this is a skyscraper of pragna. Now with that height, what he would be seeing? He is not getting mounted on a cement concrete tower, which is perhaps maybe 1000 meters. What is going to see there? But now he's standing on the whole pedestal of pragna. Pragna prasada aruyam. Then it's a different state for him. Ashocha shochato janan bhumisthani vashailastha sarvan pragnyo anupashyati. Wonderful, wonderful metaphor. Say when you are on a tower top and everything appears to you very, very tiny, you are not identify who is who and what is what. You know that there are cars running down on the streets, and there are small bungalows which are of the size of just one knuckle of your finger. That's the size. You are not able to identify whose house is which, who is walking on the street, because every being will be appearing to you like a Lilliput being. So you are only able to identify somebody is walking. People are walking. Hundreds of people are walking on the streets. Hundreds of cars are running on the streets. You are not able to identify which is which car, which is which being. Therefore, what happens? You are free from any attachment, aversion. If you identify someone, then either there is attachment or aversion. If you identify any vehicle, any car, any object, then you will have attachment or aversion. But you are not able to identify. There might be a car which is multi-billion dollars and you don't identify that it is such a limousine. And therefore you don't have attachment aversion. But if you see the car from on a road, then you know what happens to you. You also aspire for that car. Or you have aversion for that car because you cannot possess it. So you have these various reactions in your mind when you think the particulars of things, but now you can't see particularities of things when you are on a tower top. So your mind is even. So everything appears equal to you. Your mind is equal to everything which is down below. So you assume witnessivity. You are free from attachment aversions. So similarly, now yogi having got mounted, he sees the world. The yogi will not be looking for which brand of car, which person is moving on the street. Is it a rich poor person or poor person, or known person or unknown person, my friend or my not friend, because yogi doesn't have enemies. So it's called Shailastha Vritti, mountain top visionary. You are on a mountain top. How do you look at the things down under, below? So he is Ashochaha Shochado Janan. The people have sorrows who are walking on the streets, but he has no sorrow. He is above sorrow. Having got on the height of that pragna prasada, he is sorrowless. We get onto the top of the building, we don't become sorrowless. Because we mount ourselves on a cement concrete building or a structure of iron, steel and cement concrete and bricks or blocks. But he mounts on pragna prasadam, skyscraper of wisdom. So it's a totally different condition to be on top of skyscraper of wisdom, spiritual wisdom. So that's how he describes this yogi. As to how he is, even otherwise he is a yogi, but when he gets on top of the pragna prasadam, when he gets mounted on pragna prasadam, when his intellect gets mounted on pragna prasadam, it is altogether different state for him. So that is how he explains. Let's try to understand this metaphor in our next session and let us proceed there onwards. As to what is the Adhyatma prasada which occurs to yogi, as against pragna prasada, as I told you, which is there for you and me and everyone, every Tom, Dick and Harry has Adhyatma prasadam. Whether you are atheist or theist, whether you are in noble thought culture or ignoble thought culture, you are a self, you have a self, you are a self, you have the divinity within you, so you are definitely graced. But this grace is exponentially greater. This is what we have to understand. So let's proceed on this in our next session. Namaskar.